Go ahead, Tony.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Live from the Chair with Big Money Exchange. This is our second interview tonight with Wildcard. I'm Anthony. This is Nathan, and our guest again is Wildcard. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Oh, where to begin, man? Where to begin? All right. Uh, damn, man. I was introduced to wrestling on the Sega Genesis. Um, that's where my love of wrestling began. Like, if that doesn't tell you how young I started with loving wrestling, that's where it started. All the bright colors and the things you could do on a controller, and that's where video games. I love video games. That's where that came from as well. So like, I started there, and I got to go to a WCW show. I've been to WWE shows. I just been all around. A little bit about me though is I've always loved wrestling. Always found it unique and special, and like it's like, man, I would love to be able to do that. I think that'd be cool, you know. Never really thought about doing it until like after high school. I ran into a few friends from a friend that invited me to like, hey, these people wrestle on a trampoline, but it's not like this or that. It's like they actually plan this out. They tell storylines. Everything's like professional wrestling. I think you would love it. And ever since then, I just went with that and just been in wrestling ever since, man. Other than that, man, I'm pretty simple. I keep to myself a lot. That's how I was in high school. Like, I was sitting there thinking today, I was like, man, I don't know a whole lot of people from high school anymore. Like, not any at all. I never socialized with them. I just kept to myself. I kept quiet. I kept to the back of the room, and I just did what I had to do and got out. You know, I didn't socialize. I didn't do anything big. I didn't go to prom. I didn't play sports. I just kept to myself. Wrestling is the biggest thing I've done, and I've been doing that for 14 years now. And that's a big hurdle in itself. You know, if someone's asking me, what's your longest job you've ever held down? I go, professional wrestling. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's the longest job I've ever held in my life is professional wrestling.
Wow. Well, it's a true honor to have you.
Yes, very much so.
With all that experience. So Nathan, why don't you start off the questions?
So I did a lot of research today to get ready for this, and you have one of the most unique characters I think I've seen in a long time. Where like you come out with the lucha mask, and then like halfway through or at some point you'll put it on and you become like a little bit more aggressive, or
Yeah.
Can you tell us how that came about?
Wow, man. So I had this idea when I first started, and I went by Joker. Like always, I don't know if I don't want to misspeak here, but there was always this graffiti thing growing up in high school of the Joker, and it was very gangsterish, and it was very colorful, very smiley faces, the mask and stuff like that. I was like, that's cool. That's really really cool. And I always loved the Joker and Batman. And I was introduced to Batman, so I was like, how can I do something a play on this in wrestling, something that I correlate to or liked. So at first I was just face painting, and I was wrestling as Wildcard. I just chose a random name. I was like, I'll just call myself Wildcard, and I'll just paint my face and wrestle. There was no philosophy behind it when I first started. Like, I was green as goose crap. Well, cussing here. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, I'm just going to do this. And people just complained about the face paint. I don't have this on me. I have to wash this off. I'm going to scrub. I'm like, what? You have to take a shower anyways after wrestling. You're going to stink up the joint. Why are you complaining? But then I moved away from it because I didn't know what it was. And they were like, everybody just kept on complaining. I was like, well, fine, I'll do something different. And I said, help me figure out what I want to do. And they came up with this idea of a dancer from the 90s. And I did that for a little bit. And I was like, but I really wanted to touch roots with who I was and who I am and what I do. And I was like, what is Wildcard? What is the idea of Wildcard? Who is Wildcard? What is he? And I was like, I was watching Watchmen and Rorschach. I was like, Rorschach. He is two different people. There's Rorschach as the superhero, and then he's the person. Like, he's still violent and messed up as a person. But I was like, I took some of that design. I was like, I want to put that on a mask. I want to take some of that ink block and I want to make it me. And the one thing I recently started doing was wrestling as Jeb Bingham. That's my legit name. I'm changing and transitioning to the Wildcard Jeb Bingham. I'm humanizing the mask, or the man behind the mask. I'm a person. I've had a lot of mental abuse growing up, physical abuse, self-esteem, just you name it. I went through garbage. We all go through crap in our lives. Like, a lot of us do. And a lot of that was based on Wildcard. When the mask was on, I was all that anger, sadness, ambition, everything from nervous to angry. Like, I don't think when the mask is on. I let loose of all of my anger, sadness. I don't think about anything. I just go. There's nothing pretty about it. But when I'm me, I'm me. I'm just Jeb. But when that's on, it's a whole completely different animal.
Yeah, and it works. So
yeah, and it is one of the things. Like, I had someone go, I just don't think it would work because it's not on TV. And I was like, okay, and I forgot who it was, and I don't hold any water to that really, but I just remember someone saying that. And then I had a show a few days later, and it was a brand new place, and I went out there and I did it, and the fans were like, that's crazy. And someone walked up and goes, I can totally relate to you. I was like, I don't know how necessarily it relates to that person, but they understand it, without giving an explanation. They understand it. If I take the time to give it my all and show who I am as a person, as Jeb, and then go and show the other side of me, the side of me that nobody should want to see, they're like, I get it. I can relate to that.
very nice.
Very nice.
And how often do you see a lucha guy go out with the mask off and then put it on in the middle of a match?
And see, when I watched the videos, that's what caught my attention at first. I was like, oh, he's carrying a lucha mask, but he's gonna wrestle, and then he's gonna sit it down, and then you put it on, and I was like, now that's different.
Yeah, it's different. No one else does it. It's completely brand new. And you can correlate it to the other people in the business. You can relate it to a lot of people. I can name people off the top of my head. You can relate me to Finn Balor. You can relate me to Bray Wyatt. You can relate me to Kane, believe it or not, because Kane did the same thing for a short period. But none of them have physically truly done it in the middle of a match.
Nope.
And I have. That's the one unique thing I bring about me. It's completely different. It's unique. I custom draw up every design. I custom made these designs. I did everything. I drew it up and I was like, this is what I want. This is how I want it. I set a picture up on my Facebook page, which I followed y'all and liked y'all. So if y'all get a chance to look at it, I took a picture of 14 years of all the gears I've made. Like, I had a full face mask where I showed nothing. I had a mask where I just had holes in them. And now I'm to this design, I have half and half designs, I try to stay relevant. I try to change completely. Like, now that I'm wrestling as Jeb, I don't match Wildcard whatsoever. I'm wearing biker shorts as Jeb Bingham because Jeb Bingham is not Wildcard. Jeb Bingham is just a kid that loves wrestling, that grew up playing Sega Genesis, loves wrestling, and wants to make a name for himself in wrestling.
I love that.
Very cool. All right, so let's find out who were your wrestling heroes growing up?
Ooh, that's hard. Like, of course, everybody's gonna say the Undertaker. I was just watching your live podcast before this one, and I was like, Undertaker, and I was like, of course, like, hands down, that man, like the mystique, the mysterious things behind him, and not knowing anything about it because how he kept it close to the chest. And that's the mysterious thing about Wildcard. You can go, it's just a mask. It's nothing simple. It's unique. It's special. Like, it gives me something special, and it does something for me. You know, the urn's not going to do anything for Bret Hart. It's going to help the Undertaker. That's the storyline. The mask is my urn, you know, but I get to put it on and use it. You know, like, I like Jeff Hardy. The Hardy Boys made a big impression on me when I was young too. I believe I was watching the Royal Rumble where they wrestled the Dudleys, and Jeff Hardy did the swanton off the entrance way through the table for the finish.
Yep.
That was a big part of something I watched and was a big fan of. Growing up, now that I go back and relate, like, people are like, you should watch The Great Muta. And I go back and watch The Great Muta. And I'm like, I can see why everybody's like, you should correlate to what he does and a lot of what he does and his unique mannerisms. I'm like, okay. And I can see what I can do. And like, we all have a way of taking something from someone or something somewhere and kind of making it our own. Like, I was doing the Crossroads in 2009. Like, and now Cody Rhodes does it on the biggest stage of them all. I'm like, hey,
I did that first.
I did that first, but guess what? He does it better. I mean, you can't argue. The guy does it better. He's just naturally talented and great physical shape, and that's what I'm trying to work on now. Like, a year ago, I was at 205, and I was probably at like 30% body fat. Now I'm down to 19% body fat. I'm 193. I'm in the best shape of my life. Like, I got a hold of a trainer. I really started getting my act together because I just did a seminar around December with Gabe Sapolsky for WWE. So like, yeah, like, and he said some things that really, really meant a lot to me. He's like, I want to see more of you. I said, I want to see you wrestle without the mask, because the match I did with a fellow colleague at the show, and I wrestled with the mask on. And he goes, well, I think you could do this a little different or do this a little different. And he gave good perspectives. And he goes, but I want to see you without the mask. I was like, okay. You know, so it's just, you can pique a lot of interest there. And, but again, Jeff Hardy, I'm kind of going on a rant. Undertaker, I love tag teams growing up, but I love singles matches. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't like tagging. Like, it's so complex and complicated, but yet so simple at the same time.
Yeah.
Did we lose the other guy?
I'm here.
No, he kind of just went. He can still hear us and ask questions. He just turned the camera off for a second.
Okay, you're good.
But yeah, I noticed that in the match that I saw where, and I have to say this, it's the only match where I saw somebody lose a title by count out, and then somebody came out and you guys had a tag match and you got it back. You remember that one? It was for the BCW Texas Championship, and it was you and Eric. I'm blanking on the name. The guy that was supposed to be in a
Eric Grayson.
Eric
Grayson. I remember the match. I think you're talking about. Or I think I do.
Yeah, because it was the guy in the manager of the guy that was from like the rock and roll band was in like a gold jacket, like a bigger guy.
Yeah, that's I know his real name, and I'm not gonna try to say it real quick. Cromwell Davenport. That's what he goes.
Right, and so he was sitting at ringside, and then the guy, you touched the referee, so he disqualified you and gave the other guy the belt, and then that Eric guy took his partner out, so the lady came out and they did a tag team match, and then you guys won and you got the belt back.
Yes.
But I can tell you guys were a tag team, but there was still that back and forth between you two.
Well, what it was is essentially is that as basically it was an agreed upon thing that if he was to help me tag or do that, then basically he would still, if I was to win, he would get that shot. You know, he would get that opportunity to come after me after that and have an official opportunity against me, you know. And that's what happens sometimes, man. You just things get thrown out and things come back, and they're like, no, this is not happening this way because, man, that was an interesting night. Like I was trying to remember exactly what the reason was. I remember I grabbed the ref for a good reason, but it wasn't in a bad way. And then Cromwell called for the bell because Cromwell was controller of BCW at the time. So it wasn't the ref that called the match. It was Cromwell.
Right. Yeah. He got on the mic and.
Yeah, he's like, you can't grab the ref. You're disqualified. I'm stripping you of this title. I'm giving it to this guy. He deserves it better than you. And then the CEO, commissioner or whatever of BCW came out and was like, no, Cromwell. I'm tired of your shenanigans. I'm tired of you trying to undercut this champion. I'm tired of you trying to strip him of his title. So right now, we're going to put the title back on the line, but this way it's going to be in a tag match.
Yep.
And you said that's unique. Last month or the month before, I was just in a handicap match where I was in favor on the handicap side against another guy that was a bad guy as a heel for his championship. And if his partner got beat by one of us that got the pinfall, we would win the title. I was like,
wow,
wait,
that's
what?
interesting.
like you okay?
I guess that works.
I guess it works, and now we're in a fatal 4-way on July 22nd, SCP Squared Circle Pro. So now it's a fatal 4-way. Now we're all against each other.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting, right? You're like, okay.
All right. So, hey, but at least I get a fatal 4-way for the title at the end of it. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Big Money's in the comments. He's out doing Big Money moves now, so that's why he's not with us tonight. So he says, do I see a championship title back there behind you? If so, please explain which title it is and how you won that.
Okay, this is the Texas BCW Championship. This title, try to get in my camera here, is going to be defended July the 1st in Lubbock, Texas against former ROH superstar Sledge. This would be the second time I faced Sledge. I won this match in a fatal 4-way September 2022. So I'm going on a year of winning the championship. Try to get that purdy. There we go. I wrestled in the fatal 4-way against Gino Rivera, Chris Watson, and Justin Taylor. And it was an elimination fatal 4-way.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how I won that belt, and I've wrestled with it ever since. And I've faced all comers. Ryan Justice was one of the biggest feuds I just got through getting done with. We went to a 20-minute stalemate. Then our second match got thrown out because of outside interference by Logan Knight. Then it turned into a triple threat. And then there was trash can lids and a table and that triple threat. And and then I won that. So now I'm going against ROH superstar Sledge or former ROH superstar Sledge, I should say. Always former because he's not there anymore. But big guy, he works his tail off. He's in great, phenomenal shape. This is why I'm trying to get in great, phenomenal shape, just so I can match that energy, match that size, and match that power.
Very nice.
Yeah, and before you say anything, Nathan, that is an honor that you actually won that. You know, the title you took was from Gino, or Gino was in that match. We interviewed him earlier, and man, he's a good cat. Really good cat.
Gino works his tail off. He's the July 22nd show. He's the guy I'm talking about on the Fatal 4-Way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gino Rivera. It's got Gino Rivera, Chris Watson, Draven Reeves are the other three guys. So and that includes me. So yeah, I'm involved with Gino Rivera now. So have you wrestled in South California? If so, where against who? I have not been to Southern California yet. I haven't been to California at all in my entire life. I've been to New York. I've been to Philly, but I only wrestled in Philly. I didn't wrestle in New York. I went to visit New York while I was only 3 hours away in Philly. The 2 years I went to Philly, I went for ROH in 2024, and I did a seminar with Jay Letho, Jay Briscoe, Kevin Kelly, That's when Moose was barely getting started. I have a photo, and I don't post it because he didn't agree to it. But I got a photo of him on the ring, and it was not on purpose. I was just taking a photo of the ring. I was like, "Hey, I'm taking a photo of ROH ring. I was here. Delirious was here.
Wow.
I trained with some high athletes. And then the year before that, I was at Shikara with Quackenbush. When I was with Quackenbush, that's a lot of the AEW guys are on there. Like what's his name? The best friends.
Oh, Chuck Taylor or
Chuck Taylor. Chuck Taylor was there. Damian Priest was there.
wow.
Trying to remember. There were quite a few people there. But yeah, so I've been around people, and I've been in areas. I'm like, yeah, I've been around a lot of guys that been where I've been and have pushed harder and stayed in those areas. You know, I was just in a bad situation where I couldn't do anything. Like I was like, I made the decision to stay at home. I made the decision to work on myself, and you know, I could have been somewhere else if I just, you know, made other choices. You know, you make your choices, and now I'm like, I still feel like I'm doing the best I can do. You know, I feel like I'm still making a great name for myself. I've been to Colorado. I've been to Kansas. I've been to Oklahoma. I've been to Tennessee, New Mexico. I may be missing another two or so, but I think that's about it right now. No, Las Vegas recently as the last year.
Very nice. So in that triple threat, this isn't so much a question, but a statement. You did a spot where you did a double belly to back suplex through a table where all three went. That was one of the thickest tables, like, spots that I've seen in a long time, because that table imploded. Like, it wasn't like it just like broke a little bit. There was like nothing left of that table.
Oh, it imploded and it scratched the hell out of my back. I was
wondering.
I had like a 6-inch scar on this side of me, I believe, or this side. One of the side. I think it's on this side. Yeah, like it was up my back, from my hip up to my rib cage almost. I was like, damn. I was like, that hurt. That sucks. And that's because of this guy not giving a crap and going, I'm just gonna grab a guy, and I'm gonna grab myself, and we're just gonna go. And I'm like, I don't agree.
Well,
I didn't agree to this.
Well, you went. All right, Tony, you got a question?
Let's see here. So let's just get into it. You know, let's just have fun. Your top 5 tag teams of all time.
Top 5 tag teams of all time. The Usos, definitely one of the definitely top people right now. FTR. It's really hard to say because there's some really, really big, good tag teams out there, man. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say Brothers of Destruction, and I got 2 more, right? So you said 5, so that's 3.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and get Put the Hardys in there. Like, I really just the boy in me and the child in me is like, the Hardys, man, the Hardys, they were so great. Trying to that last spot's hard to feel, man. They're just because you got the Dudleys, you got Edge and Christian, you got the Warriors, Animal and Hawk. Man, that's just super hard to say who fits in that last mold. Pick and choose. I don't know, man. Like, I couldn't tell you, man. It's so hard because my friend says this a lot. Like, ask me in a week and it'll change. Like, literally, it'll change because I'll sit there and I'll go back and I'll be watching something. I'm like, this is so damn good. Like the New Day, they were really, really, really good, and like really great at what they're doing. And unfortunately, they've had a lot of circumstances where injuries right now to where they're not really doing anything as a tag team, you know. But you know, the Usos, the work speaks for themselves. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't get to watch wrestling a whole lot nowadays, and when I do, I'm like, those guys get it. Like they know what the hell they're doing, and they know how to do it.
So I noticed that you wrestled Monster 9 with Mr. Happy of the Three Ring Circus in his corner. We had him on also, speaking of Mr. Happy. But when he was on with us, he was playing a face, so he was actually really entertaining. And it was kind of hard to do the interview, but that's beside the point. Was it hard to focus when he was like trying to distract you and like as a heel?
Not really. Like when I have this bad habit, like, and it's my detriment in some circumstances, where I get in the zone of like I'm focused on what I'm doing and how I'm going to be doing it, and that's it. That there's nothing else really matters or goes on in my head after I'm in that zone. Once I leave that curtain, I'm like, I know what I want to be doing, and I know how I'm going to do it, and I know when I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make sure it gets done right and I want to make sure I take care of myself most importantly first, you know. But like when that match happened with 9, I thought it was the greatest and coolest thing ever. Is when I was just watching on Facebook recently. I did the thing that Adam Pearce and I'm gonna say who was he with? It was Adam Pearce and I'm gonna say Colt Cabana, but I may be wrong. It was ROH, and they had an outside guy, and I don't remember who it was because I just recently watched it, but I didn't remember who the name was. But Colt Cabana hit the rope, so I'm gonna say Colt Cabana because that's the only name that pops in my head right now, and was tripped by the outside interference, and then eventually he went back to the outside, and this is the spot I did without even watching his match. This is years ago. You saw the match recently.
Yeah.
Where I rolled out of the ring and I just turned around and I hit the ring and went, oh, my back. Because he was causing so much mayhem. And the ref looks at him and goes, what's happening? He hit me. Oh, my God. And he's like, get the hell out of here. He's like, I didn't even do anything. He didn't do anything. Sometimes it works. You know, you get a little stuff like that from like Eddie Guerrero, you know. Like, and you can go, I thought I had an original idea. Nope. It's done. Been done before. You just got to go look for it.
But follow up to that really quick. How much did you have to wash the mask that you wore in that thing after Monster 9 dropped it down as tight?
I wash my stuff every single time, and I wash it. I wash it every single time.
Gotcha.
I have to. Like, he's not the first person to do that. He won't be the last. I'm sure of it. So, I always tell my friends that when I'm always around them, and they're like, I'm gonna slap the dog crap out of you. I'm gonna hit you. And my sisters, any of my family, anybody that does that, I'm like, you won't be the first. You sure as hell won't be the last. Like, I do professional wrestling. I get hit in the face a lot. A lot.
Yeah, it's like that's a Tuesday for me. I don't know what it is for you guys, but
I'm gonna hit you. Okay.
Exactly. Well, we do like the top 5 questions, so and we like it because it makes you guys think. So we'll make it a little easier. Let's do your top 5 female wrestlers.
Ooh, no. No.
Okay, maybe it wasn't a little easier.
No, it's fine. I think top 5. Are we talking all over right now? Like right now? Like
or of all time.
Okay, just all time. Okay, I was to make sure. I think that's what you did say, and that's probably me questioning it. I always thought Lita was really, really cool. Like, I always thought her style with the Hardys like really made her unique and different from every other diva. Because she came out with the trip pants, like the big baggy pants, and you didn't see that in the women. The women were always wearing the underwear and the tops and getting half naked and stuff like that. That was nice as a boy, but like, I don't know what it was. Like, I looked at Lita, I was like, she's the rebel. She's the gothic rebel that's out there
Yep.
like, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I'm not going to. Don't get me wrong. She did the things that I said she did. Don't get me wrong. She did do those things. But she didn't stand out as that type of person. She stood out differently from everybody else. And that's what made her more unique to me and more intriguing. Trish was a big part of that. Like, Trish was very talented, and they got the main event Raw. Like, I can't have one without the other. Trish and Lita are going to be my top two people. Man, now it's going to be like Becky Lynch is really good, and I really like her. Rhea Ripley, like, she's hot right now. Like, and I don't mean like in that way. Like, she's just, I love what she does and how she does it. You know, like I was watching her the other day, and I was just out there, and I was like, okay, cool, awesome, great match with Flair, which I want to add Flair in there because I may not like her personally that much, but I think that's her way of doing her job. You know, that's her way of doing her job, and you don't have to like her. And she's a legacy. Like, the girl knows what the hell she's doing. Like, she just knows how to do everything. Like, she did it with Becky. She did it with Bayley. She did it with her. Like, she's done it all and been there and still does it to this day. But as I was saying, and I was sitting there, I watched the rematch, and I'm sitting there a couple of days later, and I was like, well, let's go back, and I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I haven't seen anybody hit a pump handle slam in a while. Maybe I could start doing that. And I was sitting there thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute. The Riptide is a pump handle slam.
Yep.
What? Why didn't they not put those two together like sooner? Like, what the hell's wrong with me, right? And Road Dogg did it before her.
Yep.
And that was one of his finishers. And I totally forgot about it. And I went back and researched. Tess was doing the pump handle into Power Slam. So I was like just digging around the history, you know. And I was like, okay, some things you just get from people that are there, and just you get hands on with them. Like, hey, I think you could do this, and I think it would work for you, you know. So I think I named 5: Flair, Charlotte, Becky, Trish, Lita.
Yep. If you had a dream opponent from any generation, who would it be? No questions asked, and why?
Well, I'm not going to copy the last guy because he already said it, because I definitely would want to do Tekker, but I'm going to just say I want Jeff Hardy.
Ooh, that would be a good match.
I think our styles would mesh a little bit, and I think him being the charismatic enigma versus the mentally unstable wild card would be a unique process and a good thing to play off of. And I think any company could work with that and portray that.
I agree. In fact, I would even have him do like the Willow character that he did in TNA, because I think with both of your characters, you know, the mind games that you guys can play back and forth would be amazing.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about that. That's an interesting concept as well. You know, I wouldn't say no to it. I mean, like I said, it'd just be one of the things. You know, if it was to happen, I'd be more than happy to do it. But if it never happens, I'm okay with that too. You know, it's a dream match. You know, if it can happen, awesome. I think it'd be the greatest thing ever. I think highly of myself. I think more highly of myself than I ever have in my life right now. And I think I have a lot to offer. And that's something I listened to earlier in the podcast. It was like, what company would you want to work for? I was like, yeah, WWE. That may be later on, but kind of jumping the gun there. But I'll hold off on that question. But kind of, you know, I think I have a great mind for what I'm doing. And I think I have great ambition. And I'm not overly ambitious like I was when I first started. So I'm not overly rubbing people the wrong way, and that's what hindered me when I first started. But I think I've got a good touch on what I'm doing now and how I'm doing it.
I would agree with that.
Very cool. Okay, well, since you touched on it a little bit, let's just get into that question. Of the major 4 promotions, which one would you want to choose? Which one would you want to wrestle for, and who would your first opponent be?
Of course, everybody wants to go to the WWE. You know, that's the first and foremost. If it was WWE, if I was to go in there, I would love the opportunity to work with someone like Bray Wyatt.
Ooh.
Not necessarily against him, but with him in some way or form, because he gets the idea of mental anguish and uniqueness of a character and concept.
Mm-hmm.
That or Finn Balor, one of them two. I would want to work with either one of those two guys that get the duality and, like I said, around the character of like my concept, people that would understand what I was doing and the weird concept. Like, and I say that, but almost like they're workers, but like, I bet like someone like Triple H could be like, ooh, or and be like, I can do something with this, or I can come up with something. I can have writers do something with that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to go to AEW, I'll do 5 of them for you. So if I was to go to AEW, man, that's an interesting concept. Who would I want to do that with? Like, if I was to come in with AEW, I aimed a little high at WWE. Man, I could have looked at someone at NXT as well. I didn't think about that. Been watching a lot of work. Okay. Anyways, AEW. We're gonna go AEW. Sorry about that.
You're good.
AEW. Let's screw it. Let's go big or go home. Jeff Hardy. You know, start a program with Jeff Hardy. You know, like get that staple, or at least, you know, work my way into that position. You know, I would be more than willing to go in and do anything and everything I could to earn that right. You know, I don't want to say I go in and get that right. No. I want to earn that trust and responsibility to go out there and be able to do that. And I believe that I would be able to do that with him if given the opportunity. Impact Wrestling. I haven't been watching a whole lot of Impact Wrestling lately. I've been out of the loop on them, but well, I can go ROH first because ROH is tied in with AEW, technically speaking. So I could go ROH. Who in ROH? I don't really know. Like, ROH is so hard to say.
I have an idea.
Okay.
The Righteous is in ROH with Vincent and like Dutch. That would be like with what Wildcard is with, you know, the whole concept would be perfect because he's more like the Bray Wyatt character of like ROH.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of this is too. I don't want to contrast with too many people that are like me. Like I said, I would want to work with them in the background, and maybe necessarily like, let's just say
Right.
have me go out there and like wrestle Jungle Boy, for example. Like, someone that can see the other side. Jungle Boy's this charismatic over face, or at least was, and then have the duality, strange, unique person of mental anguish coming after him. And when I say that, I always think Mankind.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
You could think Mankind. Hell, you can compare me to Al Snow. Brings out a head.
Yeah.
Talks to it.
The bat. Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of concepts of what I relate to, and I looked and I studied those things, and I'm like, ooh, okay, I could do that. Ooh, I could do that. But I changed it completely. Regardless of what you say, it's still unique because no one ever comes out with a lucha mask and just puts it on and wrestles.
Absolutely.
And changes their wrestling style completely as well. I have two completely different styles. I have two completely different moves. Like, I have different moves. I have different things I do completely. Like, everything's different when I do that process, you know? And you have to stand out in that way of form, you know? Like, what makes you unique? This. Like, everybody's like, don't get me wrong, Jeb Bingham as a person and that loves wrestling wants to be recognized as a wrestler. I want to wrestle and have people go, Jeb Bingham's a good damn wrestler. That guy is an awesome person, humble, nicest, and will give you the shirt off his back if he wanted to. But wild card, on the other hand, that other side of Jeb is just something you don't want to mess with, and or it's that dog you want to have in a fight.
Mhm.
Yeah. And really quick, the guy that I thought you could work with, not so much wrestle with, like you said earlier in NXT, would be Joe Gacy.
Okay, I can see
with
that.
with the schism.
Yeah,
Yeah. Not so much like you just said, not so much to work with, you know what I mean, but
and
kind of
and a lot of this can be background work. Honestly, like it could be guys in the background that are writing this out and going, "This is the concept or idea we have." But I'm always like, I always like watching and going, I don't want to do that. I don't like trying to rip off anything else that's out there, because that I don't want that, you know. And people are like, "Did you know this person was doing that?" I was like, "No," because I wasn't watching. Because I was too worried about getting it done myself and worried about how I wanted to do it, how I could try to make it unique, how I could change it and do something completely different. And that's why, like, it's this conflicting process. Like, I'm sitting here like in my head, like, how do I do this? It really is conflicting. It's really, really freaking hard, you know, but I know what it is, you know, and people like it. Well, not everybody, but people do like it. It's unique.
Well, and I think that's what's great is like we hear a lot of people on here talk about, like, the characters are a lot of themselves, and like you said, part of Wildcard is you, but what you're doing that's awesome is you're taking stuff from each person that you watch and you're adapting it to make Wildcard different, which I think is awesome.
Or I'm avoiding it at all costs to still make Wildcard unique.
Exactly. All right, Tony, you have a question?
Go ahead, Nate. It's actually your question.
Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked on what I was talking about. So what's the best advice your trainers ever given you, and do you still use that advice today?
So the really hard part about my upcoming in wrestling is that I didn't have one set trainer. Like, I went through a variety of people in a place up in Amarillo, and they were just hand-me-downs, and there are some consistencies here and there. There are some voices. I always learned more outside of there through seminars. And I think the best thing I've ever learned was from Tom Pritchard, and that wrestling is like ice cream. You're going to have all sorts of different flavors, and not everybody's going to like all the flavors, but they're going to like certain kinds, and that's it.
Wow, I love that thing.
Wow.
It's like I may be chocolate vanilla, and you may be like, I only like strawberry. I'm sorry, and that's okay. And that's okay. And I was like, yeah, bomb. Like, what? It different flavors of ice cream. You can take that to every wrestler or every business, and it's true. Everything's just like different flavors of ice cream. You don't have to love it. You don't have to enjoy it. Just go to the other flavor. Flip it over to the other channel. See if you like something there. See if you can enjoy it there. Best thing I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
I'm gonna remember that one.
I like that one.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Like, I've been around I've been very fortunate enough to spend a lot of money to learn from the very best people around there, around this business.
Very.
Okay, so I guess I'll just ask this. Who is the biggest name that you've been in the ring with?
So I've been in the ring with Charlie Haas, James Storm, and Haggis. Those are the top three guys I can think off the top of my head. And not all at the same time either. James Storm and Charlie Haas were in a tag match against me and another guy. And that was just a spur of the moment thing that was never even supposed to happen. So, yeah. And And then the thing with Cajegas, that was when he was NWA champion. He was NWA. I got the poster hanging right here. The North American heavyweight champion at the time.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so-
like,
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so
Wow.
I got to know, what was it like working with the Cowboy?
it was fine. I didn't like how certain things were handled afterwards or beforehand, but from the big scheme of it all, I think I learned a lot from it. I learned more information that I needed to learn. I learned how to go and learn more things and more processes, and learn how to evolve more. And I was consistently like try to do all these other things. Like after him, like I said, I went through Tom Pritchard. I went through all these other things. Like I'm always consistently like, oh, okay, I didn't feel like I did this the best way I could. I don't feel like I was right for that role. I don't feel like I did what I needed to do for that role. And it hurt me and it bugged me, because there are times where I busted my tail to feel like I was going to get this opportunity or chance, and I failed at it. But now, like, I feel like I'm putting more effort into my studies. I'm putting more effort into what I'm doing, to where all the chances that do come, if they do give me opportunity, I want them to go, that guy's damn good, and I would love to come back and work him, or do stuff with him again. Like I said, I didn't think it was a very positive experience for several different reasons that I don't want to go in depth on, but I think the overall positive thing I can say about it overall is that I learned from it, and that's all you can say. I learned from it, and I feel like I am better off from learning from it.
Very cool. And
All
you're
right,
right. That's your top 5 male indie wrestlers.
Top 5 male indie wrestlers. Let's see. I have to go with one of my best friends, Justin Taylor. The living proof Justin Taylor. Like, I know the guy personally, and I've seen him, and this guy, he works harder than anybody I've ever met in my life. Like, he just works so damn hard, and he's so humble and so great, like so professional. Like, I can't say enough about him. Like, he's like my top guy. Like, and that's just maybe because he's my friend, but I can't speak nothing but great things about him. There's a lot of good guys out there. Like, Bam Bam Malone's a good guy. Ryan Justice is a good guy. Top 5. And I know that some people may not view us as the top people, but there are people around me that speak volumes and handle themselves very professionally around me. And I haven't been fortunate enough to be around any other people that show me or tell me otherwise. Exodus Prime, I met him this year, and I thought he was in great shape, and he was a great guy, and he went out there and killed it. Nobi Bryant, I'll go ahead and name him. Like, there's a lot of guys out here that have been doing great things and just have not gotten that chance that they deserve, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right, Tony, you're up.
Okay, in your opinion, who's the best wrestler turned actor?
It's going to be between John Cena and Batista. And I think it's really hard to say, because it all depends on the project that they're working on and how much leeway they get. Because John Cena, from Peacekeeper to Peacekeeper, was very great. That's what stands out to me right now. Like, his acting role in Peacekeeper really stood out to me. And Batista's role from Guardians of the Galaxy, but all the way to what was the other one I was thinking about? There was another one I was thinking about, but I forgot about it. Glass Onion.
Oh, yeah.
He did really good in Glass Onion. I was like, whoa, I connected with him a lot in Glass Onion. I was like, wow, he's really doing good. Like, that made him, like, in my book, like, stand out. Don't get me wrong, The Rock is good, but I'm just like, I want The Rock to not be The Rock per se. He's a big and good guy, but like, he did comedy before he started, and I think he was starting to get him find himself, and people didn't take him too serious or didn't like him as those people. But I want him to go back to that range and try to be more funny again, or try to not hold himself so serious and so big and over the top. And I get for superhero movies, you have to do that, but I'm just like, it's the same thing I've seen for a longest time. And I'm just like, okay, I don't care, because I saw John Cena, the biggest superhero, cry and break down and show emotion as a super villain in a show, and you felt and correlated to that.
I completely agree with that.
You're up, bud.
So, what's the best gimmick match you've ever been in? Whether it's hardcore or whatever.
I've been in street fights. They're nothing special. I've done them. Like, okay. How to decide? Texas street fight. That happened in just a regular match. It just happened after the match. I'm thinking of a match where I jumped off a 20-foot ladder through a table in a bar.
Ooh. Ouch.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that was fun. Maybe it's 15, but it felt like it could have been 20 foot. But that or the steel cage, the cage match that we had with 6 people in it inside of an 18-foot ring.
Damn.
Yeah. Fun.
Doesn't give you a lot of room to move.
Nope.
Wow.
But I could tell you something that off topic a little bit, but like, I have this video on YouTube somewhere, and I'll have to find it and see if I can share it with you guys. There's a match I had when this promotion called Old School Wrestling first started. I had a fatal 4-way with Austin Riley, Nolan Phillips, me, and Chris Wolf. And we had a spot where I was being superplexed from the top rope. Legit superplex from the guy that was superplexing me from the top rope. That guy that was superplexing me was getting Germaned. The guy that was Germaning him was getting powerbombed from the guy below.
Oh, wow.
That was an 18 by 18 ring. I landed with my feet about a foot from the corner on the other side of the ring.
Golly.
Owie.
Yeah. You just see this legit like arm.
Wow.
Somebody out the crowd probably wanted to yell timber.
Okay.
One more quick thing. When you were talking about the cage match, you said you were into video games, right? So
Yeah.
The first thing that popped into my head was Super Smash Brothers. With like people just like bouncing off each other and like knocking each other off the. So
yeah.
Sorry, that was just something that like popped into my head, and I was like,
I was being bounced off the cage a few times, and trust me, it doesn't go as pleasantly as you think it would, like it does in a video game. You're like, that's not too bad. Whack, okay, baby, that's a little bit worse than I thought it would be.
That hurts a little bit more than it did in the video game.
Wait, why am I bleed? Oh, yeah, I was in a cage match, Well, I didn't have this 6-inch scar over here before.
Okay, so what advice would you give to an up-and-coming wrestler?
If given the opportunity to train with the best, train with the best. If given the opportunity. Like, I would recommend Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. I would recommend going to Tennessee and do Tom Pritchard's School of Black, as I think is Seth Rollins' school. If I said that correctly, I hope I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did.
there's Booker. I said Booker T's. There's the Rhodes Academy now in Austin, I believe.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's my biggest thing is like, yeah, you can go get a lot of training from the indie companies around you or in your area. I mean, you can go there and get a few things done, and you can wrestle there. You can stay there and wrestle there and make it in the wrestling business and make it far sometimes. But it's sometimes easier and better for you to go get it done with the professionals, and because they have connections and they have resources to teach you how to run this business and do it at the best level and best efficiency, because they've been there, they've done it.
Very nice.
Great advice. So if you had a dream tag team partner, who would it be and why?
It'd either be Bray Wyatt or Finn Balor. Just for the sheer changes of our personalities, from Jed Bingham to Wildcard and Finn Balor to the Demon, or Bray Wyatt to the Fiend, for example.
Gotcha.
I think those would be like dream tag team partners I would love to have to work something with.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
It makes you think, right? Like
It does.
like the ideas are insane. They're not insane.
My question though is, could you handle the psychotic Mr. Rogers that Bray Wyatt played before he became the Fiend?
Say that one more time.
Could you handle the psychotic Mr. Rogers that Bray Wyatt played before he became the Fiend? You know, his in between when he was in the Funhouse.
I would say yes. It's all about what's presented or how it's held in front of me, and I have a strange side of me. Like I have a silly side of me as well. Like I don't show it, but like, and people are like, you're stupid, you're weird. But I'm like, but I had people look at me and go, you gonna be okay? You ain't gonna kill somebody, right? Like it's just learning how to control that process. You know, I've had people like be legit worried that I was about to do something bad, and I've had people go, okay, that's just stop it, you know?
All right, Tony, you're up.
All right. Well, this should be an interesting question. So I usually pick on Dodge, so he's not here, but Dodge and Nathan like the same. So Nathan likes anything with peanut butter because he likes to get his fingers nice and sticky. So what is your favorite cookie or snack?
Cookie or snack? I thought you were going to talk about peanut butter and a dog and a tongue, and I was like, I was wondering how weird this is going to get.
Maybe I shouldn't have said I do right before I figured out what you were thinking.
I knew it.
I knew it.
I told you I could be weird and strange and silly, like right? Like
hey, you and I are going to get along just fine.
Well, it's a good thing Dodge wasn't there, because I actually go into a whole ordeal about, you know, he likes the peanut butter with the money so he can smell the money. And yeah, the stickier the better, you know. So yeah, I'm glad he wasn't there. But anyway,
yeah, I'm glad we didn't.
So when it comes to cookies, I'm a big Oreo fan. I love Oreos. Like I know I was a big cookies and cream ice cream guy. Like cookies and cream is like the shizness for me. But I've started transitioning to where I like Reese's peanut butter cups, blizzards, and stuff like that a little bit more. I like peanut butter in that, and you know, it's either one of those. You know, if it's like craving something sweet, I'm gonna do that. Actually, I had a friend come over, so when I have a cheat day, I'm gonna potentially eat this big chocolate brownie that they gave me.
Oh, yummy!
Or sorry, I say cheat day, but cheat meal. So I'll have to get my cheat meal before my. I don't want my child to go on here to go cheat day. What the hell are you talking about? Cheat meal. My apologies. Cheat meal.
Like that was a technical difficulty on the podcast. I never said cheat meal.
I never said cheat day. I swear. Shut up. Anyways.
Okay. Nathan, final questions.
What's your future goals in wrestling?
Right now, I'm trying to get in the best shape I can, and at least get a tryout with WWE, like WWE or AEW or Impact. Like, I look at this, and I go, man, I haven't had any true opportunities, and it's so frustrating. But the only one holding me back is myself, in a sense, too, because I'm selective in what I do and how I do it, because I'm always money conscious, to my own detriment at times. Like, I'm spending money on all this other stuff, like wrestling gear and materials and stuff like that, and t-shirts and stuff like that. And I know the more you get out more, the more you wrestle elsewhere. Plus, my age is not on WWE's radar right now. I think 28 is the limit, and I'm 34, so I'm still young. I'm still really young, but like, I just want that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if they gave me the chance to show myself and show what I have here, that would intrigue them to be interested in me, or interested in what I have to offer. And if not, that's okay. At least give me that opportunity. And that's all I'm trying to do, is get that opportunity anywhere and everywhere I can. Other than that, in the meantime, I'm going to just try to keep wrestling more bigger names, or try to get around bigger names that would give me the opportunity to fight, so I can show I can be on that level, show that I can handle myself, because I'm working out 6 times a week. I'm doing 30-minute cardio sessions. That's on Stairmasters, ellipticals. I'm doing weights, I work my shoot job at the same time, so like, and I'm still studying and working and wrestling at the same time. Like, I just want to make it, I think that's anyone's goal, is we just want to make it, or at least have that chance to at least showcase ourselves with them. And technically speaking, I could say I work for WWE. I can technically already say that, but I want to work for WWE, if that doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes sense. So before you ask your final question, I do have to say what I always say, which is in about a year, we're going to do a benefit show for the Special Olympics down here in Washington, and I would love to have you come down if you're available to wrestle at it.
I'm always willing to try and come in. My thing is, shoot me dates, because it all depends on when the date falls. Because I do have I have a business here in Lubbock that plans a year out almost in advance. So like, I had to have those dates available. I was doing the same thing for Rocky Mountain Pro as well. Like, there were 2 shows. I was like, they plan out a full year in advance. And if they do that, if they're willing to have me come back next year, because they didn't want to bring us in for the rest of the year, I could go back and do them as well. And that means I can fill up my schedule more. So the sooner the schedule comes to me, the sooner the better. And then it's negotiating travel and stay and stuff like that, and see what I can and cannot do, because I'm always willing to help and work out what I can. I don't want to be that pain, and I'm always willing to come in at least once and eat that, because it's an experience.
Right, and absolutely, we'll definitely let you know in more than enough time to see if you're available.
Yeah, I don't really take any time off of my shoot job, and like, legit, like, I looked the other day, I was like, I have over 360 hours of vacation leave. And I'm like, yeah, like, I work nonstop. Like, when I work. Like, I get in the groove, and I'm like, I need money. So I get to work in 13-hour shifts and then still hitting the gym and stuff like that. So like I said, I'm constantly just going, and then I'm like constantly wrestling at wrestling shows. So I'm like, I want to keep going. So like, the sooner you get to me, the better. And then, like I said, if I have that time to plan out, it's going to be so much easier for me, because I'm more likely going to fly. I can ask my sister how long it took her to drive up there. She drove from Texas, and I was like, are you insane? But I mean, I did make a 36-hour drive to New York, so I mean, I could.
But like I said, we'll let you know more than enough time to
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I'd be more happy to. That'd be a new state. I haven't wrestled in Washington, so that'd be something to add to the bucket list too. Like, I actually just got my passport this year too. Like, I think that's a big goal of mine. I would love to wrestle overseas if given the opportunity and given the chance. I would love to. Like, I have a passport now. Like, I didn't ever think I would ever have one of those, and I can do that now. You know, I can go wrestle in Canada if you wanted me to, or Mexico, or Japan, or Europe. You know, wherever. You know. But I just got to get that opportunity and get out there a little bit more.
Very cool.
All right. So where can we find you on social medias?
So Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all the same. It's at the Wildcard Mask.
Got it.
All right. Well, now we get now it's time for the sponsors. So our first one, I'm just going to go ahead and do it then now. Thank you to Big Money Exchange and Big Money Compound. Please help support Big Money with his own training facility, his own training school. But until he can get a ring, he's offering online training classes starting in the middle of July, $25 a session, $150 a month. His first trainer is a 22-year veteran, has wrestled and defeated Rey Mysterio, Mr. SoCal Crazy.
Yep.
Nathan?
And our other two are the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And you can get a hold of Becky Bernhardt. And then the last one is Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs. And you can find him on Angie's.
Well, and it's not the last one. Our last one is a dear friend of ours, a 22-year vet as a referee who just refereed 15,000 matches. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. 15,000 matches. Mr. T-Rex. So thank you for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you to all of our sponsors. So from myself, from Nathan, from Wildcard, we thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Yep.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.